Hello. I think everybody is in, which is great.
Yeah.
So we will kick off. So good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time to spend an hour with us this evening. I'm Andy Sigaloff, and for those that don't know me, because we've got a few people here that are not part of the network at the moment, who I have invited along. I'm Andy Sigaloff, and I'm the Managing Director of TaxAssist Australia. So this evening we're going to be talking to Mike Melling, which is great. He's here from the UK. He's calling from the UK. First of all, I just want to explain something quite unique for those that are new to TaxAssist. TaxAssist Accountants is a very unique franchise company where 58% of the company at the moment is actually owned by our franchisees, and Mike being one of those, which is fantastic. It just gives us the opportunity to, or our franchisees actually, the opportunity to participate and benefit from the growth of the company. And with this in mind, we actually have Mike Melling with us, who's not only a franchisee, but he's also the Group Development Director for us. And we are very fortunate that he also sits on our Australian board as well. So he supports the Australian franchisees and the support centre here. So welcome, Mike, and look forward to speaking to you this evening.
Yeah, terrific. Great. Thanks, Andy. And lovely to see everybody this evening in Australia. A little bit earlier in the day in the UK here. I just got back from a trip to the United States where we're opening up multiple locations. So I'm figuring out. I think I'm just about reacclimatized to know where I am at home.
Back at home too. So, Mike, would you like just to kick off by telling us a little bit about your background and how you came across TaxAssist and how you actually got involved in the beginning?
Yeah, sure. I'd be delighted to. So my background is corporate. It's global financial services. I spent most of my career with American Express Company. Including many trips to Sydney, Australia, which I know pretty well. I've gone down to the Opera House in the morning from Liverpool Street. And it was always in global roles, so I did a lot of airline travel, many frequent flyer miles accumulated along the way. And then worked for large companies like Marsh & McLennan. I was on the UK board of directors of the global insurance broker. GE Capital, as well as an operational consulting company called Alexander Proudfoot, where I ran the UK business. So very different, pretty large corporate boardrooms. I operated at pretty senior levels for certainly the last 15 years of my career. So you're probably wondering, well, this is a bit of a switch. And I just got to a point in life in general and in my career specifically where I'd done pretty well financially, but also having met terrific people who I'd worked with and friends who I met along the way all around the world, including Australia, as we've established. But was very keen on looking to build a business asset for myself and my family. This is exactly 10 years ago, so I was at that time speaking with our global recruitment head, David Paulson, which some of you may have met. And I was intrigued. Before that, how did I end up on TaxAssist? Well, actually, I kind of figured, look, a franchise business model is probably the sort of thing that could be suitable for somebody at my stage of my career and life in general. Probably going and starting something on my own is probably a bit too much of a risk. But to be honest, it could have been any type of successful business model. It could have been McDonald's, it could have been Subway, it could have been, I don't know, a cleaning company, whatever it would have been, providing I could see that it had a proven track record of success. And that it could generate good returns, which I've pretty got used to expecting from my days in big corporate, and that could give the ability to grow a good sizable business asset. And actually, little story here, walking around the Taj Mahal in India with my wife for a special birthday, the 29th of February 2012, I remember it well. It's upon I was inspired, struck by lightning, whatever it was, when I found out reading through the British Franchise Association book all about TaxAssist Accountants. I never heard of them, and but the more I looked and thought, so this is interesting. This is similar to the background that I've had, and took it from there. I'll leave it at that because I'll probably get into how I got to meet the directors and how I made my decision, which some of you will be going through. I'll talk about that in more detail as we expand the discussion.
Yeah. So, what attracted you to TaxAssist Accountants rather than any other accountants or an accounting franchise?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, and just to re-emphasise, Mandy, I wasn't looking to be an accountant. I'm actually not an accountant. I do have obviously a good financial background, having worked at the levels I've worked at in financial services through the years. But I wasn't specifically looking for an accountancy background. And actually, I've got to say, one of the first things that struck me when I came across TaxAssist, I will come on to the looking at other accountancy businesses in a minute. But I've got to say, the first thing that I saw wasn't so much an accountancy model. It is, of course it is. And we deliver superb services to our clients, and I've got many of them as a franchisee. We have large franchise practices. I'll come on to that in more detail. But what actually I saw was a marketing and communication machine. I saw a brand. I saw an emerging global brand, which we've definitely achieved in the US, in the United Kingdom. We're developing in Australia, and we are developing in other parts of the world. So, in short, I was very impressed with what I saw in the marketing and the branding. As I got into the model more and more and understood who our core target market is, it became quickly apparent that the small business market, I could see how, with the track record that had been built in the UK, I could see how it would have been built, because the small business market is underserved. It's certainly underserved in the UK and continues to be underserved. We are there, but, and we have the largest market share, so we serve it, but to this day, there's really nobody like us in the UK. And I mentioned, I just got back from the United States. We have that absolute opportunity in the United States, as well as all the other markets, starting with Australia and Canada, that we're pursuing. Happy to get into that in more detail, but that kind of hopefully gives you a sense.
Yeah, so just to bring it to your practice, because we've got some of our franchisees here today as well, and they're really interested in how you actually got your first shop front up and running, how you positioned it, how you found it, and what was the thought process behind your shop front?
Yeah, well, so that was it was different to the majority of new franchisees coming into TaxAssist at the time, in that I was specifically looking for what we call a resale. So I was looking to buy an existing built and successful business. So this is particularly relevant in terms of people thinking about exit and what the longer term plan is, which for any business is always good. It's good advice, good thinking. It's what we teach our clients. So I was looking to buy a scaled business that I could take over 100% and get involved in, look to develop that. So quite different from a new client, the majority of franchisees coming into TaxAssist and building up the asset one by one. But of course, the person who sold me the asset, a gentleman called Mark Fordham, who was on our board of directors, who went on to our group board of directors, who sold me that asset for a large deal, which was, I'll blush at Mandy's the title of this call, but it was a £1 million deal, so that's how you get your $multimillion. And I was so happy with the success and obviously given my background, I had very clear criteria. I did very detailed due diligence, and I could see that what I would be acquiring was a solid asset with recurring revenues, with a cash flow and an income and a profitability level that would actually continue to support our pretty good standard of living, including international travel and everything that goes with that, as well as the opportunity to grow it, which I did. And I took what was a single office. So Mark had done a brilliant job building this single office shop, as we call them, single store location in Hertfordshire, just outside of London. So a town called Harpenden. Anybody who's been to the UK, St Albans, the historical city centre, and Harpenden, Radlett, those were my original locations. And one of the first things I did was open a second store in Radlett. And that, by the way, I will emphasise and major on, is a major part of being a successful TaxAssist franchisee. Investing in good real estate, identifying the right locations, going where the clients are, and investing in good quality locations and storefronts, because that just simply drives business. And I will come on to that and talk about that in more detail. But so that was the early stages, and on every metric and every objective goal, and I try, I've been kind of conditioned over the years, particularly on boards of companies like GE Capital subsidiaries, to put the emotion out of it and to look at the facts and the figures and to look at things in black and white and very critically. I've got to tell you that every single metric was blown out of the water within 2-3 years. Every one of my personal goals and the detailed financial planning model that we all go through, and hopefully that's what we are doing in the US and in Australia, because the interactive planning, 5-year planning model is just, that was a real compelling reason for me joining as well, because I could see what I could do with the investment, the return on the investment, and everything else. But in summary, and then I will pause and then continue, is every metric: return on investment, internal rate of return, taking money out of pension funds to invest in this retail and to buy this asset was a massive change in our personal balance sheet. This is taking family money out of pension funds and investments and investing in a TaxAssist business. And all I can tell you is, on a personal level, the returns that we've made out of the business as a family have been 3 to 4 times anything that you would have made in the most aggressive investment funds. So that was that. I will just add, and then we can get into more detail as we get questions. And Mandy, you further interview me here, is I liked it so much I bought another area and another franchise area 3 years later. That was a more modest size, of a more typical, that was coming up for £250,000 fee bank. And that fee bank today is £610,000. I just finalised, we just did our management reporting yesterday. So that was 2015, so it's 6.5 years, 6.25 years actually, since I bought that business. So if you want to do the compound growth rate on that, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that is fantastic. That is. So you've now got 3 shop fronts up and running. So the hardest thing is, I think, is staffing. You can't be in those 3 places all at once. And I know that you now sit on the board and you are, you're travelling and helping us grow the business. So how have you managed to actually move away from working in that business to just, working a couple of days a week as you do?
Yeah, good question. And by the way, it's 5 locations. It's 4 stores and an additional, well, actually it's 6 locations with 2 additional service offices, which work fantastically well in generating leads and getting our websites out there, our terrific branded marketing and everything. But yeah, this is actual proof of the pudding, isn't it? I mean, this really is the proof of the pudding. How else could I be spending 3 days a week? I read 8 days a week at the moment, because I started to do this in February. So I was asked to join the main group board of directors for TaxAssist to as we've gone through a big change in leadership now with Carl Sandel, who has been massively instrumental in growing the business for the last 27 years. A lot of we owe Carl an enormous debt of gratitude for everything that he's done and the personal work he's put into the business, along with his co-director, finance director Phil Sullivan. So as they stepped down to the board and we've looked at the structure of the new board, they were very keen to get somebody with franchise, actually somebody who'd done it on the board. So I am the first franchisee on the main board of directors. But how do you do that? Because this is not a non-executive director position. I've had non-executive director positions. I know what it's like to get board papers, every 2 months or whatever it is to read on a Sunday night before you go into a meeting on a Tuesday or whatever it will be. Well, this is not what this is. This is an executive position with responsibility for driving, as Mandy said, our global development. So I'm really, really excited about that. It very much pans into what I've done in my prior life. But how can I do that and possibly run a multi-unit, large, very, very large business that generates very substantial returns with effectively 2,000 clients, and I don't mind sharing. This is if something is with the exchange rate, what's the current Aussie exchange rate?
About 1.8 at the moment. So.
Yeah, well, that's what I have. About 1.8. So, so we're well north of $2.3 million of annual, it's more like $2.5 million of annual recurring fees. So, which are generating very, very healthy net profit margins without me being there. So the key, and you picked up on the key thing there, which for those who are engaged in the business today, first of all, well done, good investment, fantastic decision. And for those of you who are interested, clearly to be able to get to the point where you can grow, you must be able to develop your teams, to hire the right people, to develop and nurture those people, to invest in those people, to look after those people, and to enjoy working and seeing their progress. That is a key criteria, really. If you don't like dealing with people, you're on the wrong call. Yeah, seriously, because it's a people business. It's a people business dealing with the clients, and it's definitely a people business building a team that wants to deal with people and look after small businesses and their families. So I've obviously done a reasonable job of that because the business continues to grow. Our March numbers came in at 14% year-on-year growth. This is on big numbers, right? And that was and last year was 12%. So we've grown broadly 13% per year over the last 2 years when we've been locked down half of that time, with COVID. So being able to rely on a team and being able to delegate and being able to, and this actually is going back to my earlier comments, this has been kind of bringing in some of my corporate background a little bit. I've always worked on the maxim, and I'm sure most of you have heard this and probably operate to it to a level. I've always believed what gets measured gets done. So if you want to achieve something in life, whatever it is, personal thing, you want to be the best athlete, you want to be the best tennis player, you want to run the best TaxAssist business, you want to win in the league tables, or you want to do anything, you need to have a goal, and you need to have that goal pretty well defined and clear in your mind, and that it's realistic. And guess what? It probably won't be realistic to start off with. Refine it. When you realise you've got more information, you've got more data points, refine it. But be clear what it is, and be clear but what adds value to your business. You measure, you track, and you're on top of those metrics. So I have a team which are totally empowered, totally delegated to. We have a structure that each shop, each storefront, each location has the same set of key performance indicators. We personally call them our client servicing plan, with the belief that everything starts and ends with the client. Yeah, if we don't have the clients, we don't look after the clients, we don't have a business. So we have our about 16 different key indicators, which I'm happy to share in our client servicing plan, starting with the number one, how are we doing on sales? How is each unit doing on sales? Each shop, each office has a team around it. They're like mini franchisees. Well, actually, they're each the size of a typical franchise in the franchise business in the UK. And they have their own teams, and everybody is motivated to reach their sales targets. The sales targets are tracked on a weekly basis, and the other key performance indicators that are tracked or support that, like how many Google reviews did you get last week? Because we all know that Google reviews drive business. We have 5 stars. Go and have a look at TaxAssist Accountants, UK. We opened that shop in August 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, when the high street was more or less closed. And we hit our 3-year target in year 1. Yeah, we did that with key performance indicators. So, cut a long story short, I know this has been pretty long. How did I do it? I built a team that I could trust. I've got to say, without this coming across too saccharine or whatever, we do operate as a family. We operate on a level of trust. All of my team are empowered, and it works.
Yeah, that's good.
They all showing the success.
And how often do you visit these sort of KPIs? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? How closely do you monitor those?
We have a weekly senior management team meeting. So it's the office. I call them client partners. So we're very structured around client portfolios. So our 2,000 clients are divvied up between 6 different client portfolio partners, and then we have 4 office managers, which double up as office manager and client partner for a portfolio of clients. So we meet every week. We have all the KPIs. We have all the technology. By the way, for those of you who are franchisees and those of you who are looking to become franchisees, when I say invest, do invest in the technology. Or we will provide the platforms to you. We will provide the systems. We will provide the know-how. Mandy will show, the support team will show. I will help. Promise. That's a commitment. But at the end of the day, the people who are most successful in this model are the people who follow the model, follow what it's all about, understand the ethos, understand what the proposition to the client is, deploy the client servicing technology, the practice management technology, and use it and do it. Yeah. So that really is what it's all about. So we are able. So my practice manager, who works across all of the locations on all of the administrative and client servicing, the non-billable part of our business, which doesn't get factored into our production costs and our production margins and so on. So Anna, who runs all of that, and any of you who have to speak to any members of my team at any time, please, I'll be happy to make introductions. But Hannah she's able to just push buttons on our systems every week. She'll kill me for telling you that, because I'm sure it takes a little bit more than pushing buttons. But is able to extract very detailed market and detailed segmented information about our clients and what's happening with our clients, what's happening with our sales, what's happening with our KPIs, what's happening with how many net clients we signed last week, how many did we sign, how many did we lose, what are our service levels, do we have any issues? And of course, every business has an issue. Every business I've ever been involved in has an issue. Is how do you identify it before it becomes a problem and deal with it? So we're very, very good at doing that. So we do that every Wednesday, Mandy. That shifted a little bit. We used to be Tuesday, but with my new operating rhythm, good thing to have. But Anna is able to pull that together from our various information sources per client partner, per office, per location, per team, in detail. And then we have an aggregate position, which I obviously focus on, and then can drill down into what's happening in the various locations and various offices, which I don't do on the senior management team call, because frankly, what it is there for is for the office managers to have the information and the client servicing plans to run their businesses. That's how I think about it.
Yeah, great. And what about, do you utilise any outsourcing? I know TaxAssist has outsourcing partners. Do you take advantage of that?
Yeah, good question. Big time. Certainly in the UK, and as we've already touched on, resourcing is a challenge, but it's a surmountable challenge. It really is. Particularly when you've got a fantastic, we are a terrific employer to work for. We really are, in terms of who we invest, what we invest in, and training and development and so on. But we definitely got to the point, given the growth and the scale of growth that we were experiencing, which was intentional, obviously. It was by design. It didn't just happen. It was planned for and invested in. But obviously you need the capacity and the ability to service that business. The worst thing you could possibly do is grow a business and not deliver, because then you'll kill your business for obvious. I'm just talking blinding common sense here, right? There's nothing revolutionary about this. The last thing you want to be doing is signing up clients you can't service. So I had got to a point about 7 years ago where I realized that I was just not in a position to attract sufficient capacity and talent in the UK alone to grow and support, to service the clients we had, never mind take on new clients. Yeah. So I looked at the panel of outsourced partners that TaxAssist had done due diligence on, negotiated global group rates, which obviously is a massive, massive benefit of being part of the global TaxAssist network, because that's what we're able to do. Now, I've got the job of doing that, by the way. So I settled on a business in India, Ahmedabad in India, called QX. Actually, the founder lives in, he's a British guy, but lives in New Zealand. But we'll forgive him. It was absolutely the best thing I've ever done, because what that enabled me to do is actually take on a group of, actually what's now 12 people, more or less, dedicated full-time equivalent people. But instead of just using them as a quote outsourcer and sending them work, obviously that's what the contract was. It's an outsourcing contract. But the big decision I made was, look, these individuals, all qualified, smart, bright, ACCA, UK qualified, most of them. We need to get them integrated in part of our team. One, that's how I do business anyway. I don't like people. Anybody who's part of the value chain is part of a delivery, and clearly the production work is a critical part of the team. Yeah. So that's exactly what they are, and that's exactly how they've been treated from day one. And I certainly recommend this is a key way to grow. And I had an objective from the outset that at least 80% of the production work, so whether it's in the UK, limited company accounts, or whatever the equivalent in Australia is, VAT, the bookkeeper, sales tax, bookkeeping, payroll, all of that at least 80% that was being done in increasingly crammed shops, where people were sitting on top of one another, inexpensive real estate, because where I operate are in expensive rent and lease and business rates, as we call them, whatever your business property taxes are in Australia. That I need to get my team in the UK focused on building client relationships, understanding the client needs, having the time to spend with the client to price them. And I'll talk more about the annual client review that we've just literally completed. I'll come on to that as another point of the discussion. But QX really enabled me to do that. Now, was it all plain sailing? Of course it wasn't. Were there challenges and tribulations along the way? Of course there were. But I've never run a business in my life, or never been involved in a business, even from being a junior, where there hasn't been problems and challenges to sort out. The issue is having the mindset and the team spirit to do that. And that's exactly what we've done. And I got to tell you, they are a totally integral part of the team. I'm even now looking, and this is groundbreaking news, because we've not announced this, but I'm looking at what we do to bring our team members from India into our shops in the UK, because you literally can't get staff in the UK now. It's just impossible. But this sort of problem. We have a great team, we're a great motivated team. We're now bringing people, we're onshoring people from Ahmedabad, India, into our shops in the UK, who know our clients, who've been dealing with our clients, who know the team, who they are as an integrated part of the team. They come to our Christmas parties, in the UK, So they're coming over working with us, and we're going to backfill in Ahmedabad. So that has been a key part, and that early metric of moving from 100% of our production work being done, including bookkeeping and so on, in expensive storefront locations just outside of London. Have a guess. Anybody got a guess how much of that is now being done in the UK?
Oh, anybody put anything in the chat messages so you can guess?
Let's have a bit of fun.
I'll say it's about 50% now.
Right, it's 10% is done in the UK. 10%. 90%. We have it all completely automated. Hey, good. 20. Yeah, great. Well done. Blue. Not far. You got the top. You got the gold star. That's been very intentional. We've put a lot of effort at work. And by the way, I've been very, very keen to, and this is another part. This is another core. Massive advantage that gives us a big differentiation to anybody else there. We can take those global experiences and to be honest, some of the blood, sweat and tears that we went through to get this up running, but nothing like the blood, sweat and tears of losing clients because we can't service them. But the blood, sweat and tears of putting the processes in place, but with a team that were motivated and were a team and worked together as a team to get the processes working, to get the technology embedded, to get the fact that our clients in London or in Manchester, they're travelling around, or is visiting Australia. If one of my Beaconsfield clients is in Sydney this week and he picks up a hotel bill or dinner or whatever, and he captures that on Dex, our receipt bank capture data system, that's automatically captured. We're not dealing with that in the UK at all. That's automatically being picked up in Ahmedabad in India. It's automatically being processed. The bookkeeping, the accounts, the delivery is completely seamless and integrated. So what our client partners are getting back, and our office managers and their supporting teams, is quality assured, reviewed work that can be topped and tailed. And instead of them spending 8, 9, 10 hours working on a set of annual accounts, they can spend now an hour concentrating on the tax advice, the upsell, the cross-sell into additional services like our Business Insight service, which we're obviously able to do a lot of now. But the bottom line is, if you think that 20%, well done, the actual 10% now that is done online, the 90% that has been freed up, what has that been done? That's not been freed up so that people can sit back, put their feet up on the desk, light a big cigar and have a cocktail, And they can do some of that because, we're not in the frantic, manic environment that we were trying to service all these clients that we had. But what that's now giving them, the job is totally changed. They have now got far more interesting jobs. So in the highly competitive market, where my staff are being approached on a daily basis. Guess what my voluntary turnover is? Voluntary. So people decide to leave us. Guess what my voluntary turnover has been over the last 5 years?
Right, somebody else can put that in the... I was so bad at the last guess. Somebody else has a guess at that one. The voluntary turnover of staff.
I'll jump in. It's pretty much zero. Let's call it 5%. If I take the last 5 years cumulatively, that's in an environment. I don't think anybody competes with TaxAssist the way I define TaxAssist and the way Mandy and what TaxAssist really ethos of what we are. I don't think we have got proper competition. I don't think we have a competition at all. But this is what I mean about investing in teams and having a great team and building up. People will not leave our environment. They go to the TaxAssist Academy. The 500 courses or so that we run a year, they're invested in. They get well rewarded. They're totally their rewards are totally linked and transparent to how successful they and their teams are being. Why would you leave an environment like that? Why would you? Yeah, it's fun. Well, we have a set of values and we have fun. And the outsourcing team are as integrated as that as anybody else. But seriously, if there's one big takeaway for those of you who are engaged in the business today as franchisees, and those of you who are looking to come on board, hey, come on board, it's fun, and you're going to build a great business. But let me tell you, the way you do that is get great people around you, encourage, develop, motivate, just like any good business. You're not going to find a good business that doesn't do that. Yeah. But that really, I think about what that's enabled us to do. Spend time on the client. And I'll come on to what that's meant in terms of some of our other processes like the annual client review process.
Yeah, actually, that's quite interesting. We have, in Australia, we have our outsourcing partners in the Philippines, which is fantastic. And we've actually got one of our, Tina, who works with us on our leads thing. So Tina can give us a wave. She's joining us tonight. So nice to see you, Tina, calling in. It's lovely. Tina's part of our team, the support team staff, and she's very much part of our team in the same way that you're outsourcers there, and we've got a number of different... I
saw Tina enthusiastically nodding.
Yeah. Yeah, and we
Sorry.
actually have a CPA qualified accountants. Melbourne actually has just employed 2 new CPA qualified accountants to help them with compliance work down in Melbourne because they doubled their turnover this year. So, you know, I think you had a chat with them and they've taken that on board. So that's a fantastic piece of advice. Now, you said that you've grown 14% year on year. So, Mike, could you just give us an idea of how much of that is new clients and how much of that is increasing fees or services from your existing clients?
Right. Well, on the absolute sales target, that is pretty much. I'd say the vast majority of that is that new incremental clients. Yeah, net new, because you do naturally. We're a retail business, so obviously you've got Westpac gain new clients every day and they lose clients every day, right? It's a retail. If you go into a retail bank, that's what happens, right? Yeah. Whatever the telephone system is, telephone company, mobile telephone companies in Australia. Yeah. The secret, obviously, is gain more than you lose. So people go back to business, people go back, people don't need the service anymore, they retire, they do this, they close down their businesses. So you have what's natural attrition. What you always need to be focused on, and we have certainly been focused on, is that you're not losing clients because of service. And that really is circling back to what I was talking about on some of the big changes we made over the last few years, because we were losing clients because of service. We have not lost clients because of service at all. And we've not had a single client we've lost because of service in the last 5 years. Not one. Yeah. It's been, there's been other reasons, other factors. They don't, they think they can get it cheaper. They can't get it cheaper. They're comparing apples to bananas. Our service is different. So the secret is net growth. They've got a very simple, lose one client, gain 3, and we pretty much do that. Yeah. So that's what we do, because we've got lots of inbound leads. We've got lots of walk-ins. Again, I know many of you got some fantastic stores. I was just looking recently. What the shop in Melbourne is that was just open. I just saw that recently. Is it Michael? Michael
and Baddy, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Hey guys, hopefully you're on here. I can't see everybody on the screen, but the terrific looking shop, terrific looking location. You know how it works. I mean, you should be you will be experiencing that, I'm sure. So I'd say the majority has been net new, certainly up until this point. Now, I will come on in more detail to our annual client review process, which we've just concluded. But that run rate sales numbers will be increased a further 7% instantaneously on the 1st of May, on top of that.
All right. Yeah.
So we will be adding about another £60,000 to £70,000 worth of annual fees, straight away on the 1st of May. And that even doesn't include some of the one-off stuff that we bill that we don't have on our recurring direct debit scheme. So the vast majority of that is growth, but it is also absolutely cross-sell, upsell, having the time to do that, having the time to think about the client, having the time to develop the relationship and spend time in these in the retail shops, having a coffee, talking, chatting, the Starbucks of the accounting world, so to speak, all of that. So that's what it's all about. So a lot of that then has come from upselling into new services. Why are you doing your bookkeeping? And that's another thing, being very, very clear and strict on the services we're providing and what the clients agreed to and what they've not. And we will all, certainly people who are TaxAssist accountants today, will experience clients who will say, oh, no, it's okay, I'll do my bookkeeping. And you know full well that what you're going to get is rubbish when it comes to actually preparing what you need to do for them. So we have very simple codified systems, of what category of records and how we price the clients accordingly. I could talk about that in more detail later if you wish. But the bottom line is we've had a big push over the last few years where when I joined 10 years ago, doing bookkeeping was seen as a low value add, transactional, low profitability activity. We in my business and a lot of TaxAssists have been very, very successful of turning that on its head completely, that this is actually our main relationship service in terms of engaging with the client through the course of the year, not just talking, and you've got different systems and different requirements in the US, but a lot of what we were traditionally driven by was our statutory reporting in the UK and what we call the requirement to file limited company accounts every year. Company directors could go to jail if they didn't, so we had a bit of an incentive.
Yeah.
So bottom line is, what we've moved entirely from was virtually a process of doing the accounts on the last filing day when clients were bringing their records at the very last minute to we're dealing with the client through the course of the year. We're engaging with it through the course of the year. We're selling and upselling our bookkeeping. And more importantly, once we've done the bookkeeping, the next level of service, our business insight service, our management account service, of actually taking all this data that's now correct, and you've actually got that we can make actionable insights for the client. This is what you can do to grow your profits. You can do this. You're underpricing that client. You're overpricing that client. That client's subsidizing this client. You've got, your debtors are out of control. Your margins are this. Your costs are getting out of whack. Whatever it will be. So that's what we're doing. That's really what the service of TaxAssist is all about. Obviously, we need to be a compliant. You can't be an accountant and you can't claim to be a credible accountant without providing those compliance activities. But to me, that's the entry-level, bread and butter, basic thing. We need to get that right. But the real service then is taking that and making actionable insights out of that for the client that you can engage the client with. And guess what? The fees we're getting out of that are double. An average fee for us now is double what we would have been getting from those clients 10 years ago. And that's without even including, that's inflation adjusted, take inflation out of it, our average fees are double because it's much more weighted to consultative and advisory than transactional compliance that you're just so open to disintermediation than somebody going to an H&R Block or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So you actually mentioned there about the new clients coming in, which is really interesting, and we've got a question that we can also tie into this from Rakesh. So, I know TaxAssist provides the websites and social media pages, and there's updates on the social media and on the websites, obviously every week or every fortnight, depending on what platform it's on. But, that's from the support office. But what do you do locally, and how important is local marketing to back up what's done nationally?
Yeah, no, great question. I've got to say, what is done nationally and what we do in our centralized marketing and what is driven, where we do have a large team of social media experts and marketing experts, is top notch, and that's what you'll be seeing in Australia. But if you look at the more mature market for taxes, look at the content on the UK site, which is exactly the sort of things that we're bringing to Australia. That is done. It's done exceptionally well, and I'll come on to what happened in the pandemic, which was a major driver of our growth over the last few years. So we do that. That is done exceptionally well, but you can't beat also, augmenting that with local anecdotes, little vignettes, little activities in the office, like we've opened this office, or this is our team meeting, team party, or our team event. People, ultimately we're a local business, bringing national capabilities and global capabilities, actually, not just national, global capabilities, technology platforms, know-how, and everything else to the local marketplace. That's what we are. Yeah, that's what we are. Yeah. So having that local, that local updates, I must admit, we've not quite got to the level of some other taxes do this way better than my businesses do. I've got to be honest. Some that have got daily updates of what the what the family dog is doing. Beautiful, wonderful, and I can see some of that in some of the Australian postings. It's fantastic. We've started to do some of that, and we actually do have we do have an office mascot dog now in our Harpenden office that comes in pretty regularly. The clients love it. So little human postings, because what are we all about at TaxAssist? We're all human beings. People can see looking through the shop windows that we're open, we're accessible. We all look like nice, friendly people, so the more we can bring our personalities to life, the more success we'll be. And I must admit, that's probably, I've got room for improvement on that. Shall we put it in those terms? Developmental needs.
So, and you were just saying that obviously the Google reviews, so your 5-star Google reviews that you've got, so getting those Google reviews on your business page is imperative.
Yeah. And, I'll just give you the example. Maria Rodriguez, my colleague, office manager, client partner, who, by the way, joined us 5 years ago as our manager of digital partnerships. She was a really experienced, qualified bookkeeper, knew QuickBooks and Dex. I don't know is Dex in Australia? I'm not too sure. Receipt Bank.
Yeah, we have. We have a number. Yeah, we have Dex as one of them, and Receipt Hub and a number of different ones. Yeah.
So I was a very, very early adopter, and I actually hired Maria as a really expert bookkeeper, not as a qualified accountant or anything. She is qualified, but she just did a phenomenal job building up the business. So I promoted her to office manager and client partner for our new Beaconsfield office. And my God, if there's anybody who's going to drive the model and speak to success, and if anybody wants to speak to me, I'll set up a call. It's Maria on going out and getting those reviews. So when she got that promotion and we were building the Beaconsfield shop and we had all the signs coming to you soon, she went out and got the Google reviews. And this is in a location. This is an affluent suburb of London. We're very, very good business. Affluent. Actually, on another level, we've got probably the highest concentration of ultra high net worth individuals outside of Mayfair in London, as well. Which is another topic of discussion, by the way, because you wouldn't think that those were typically our clients, but we're picking them up. Maria knew and had already done it in a prior office where she'd been delegated to by the office manager, who didn't quite see it was so important that he should spend his time doing this. And we'll go further than that. Sometimes you need to see it to believe it. But Maria did and went out there. Now, this is in a marketplace that Beaconsfield, all the local businesses, all the individuals, all the local directors, 25, 30 minutes outside of London on the train. The biggest, the 2-3 largest what would have been seen as competitors, accountancy firms, have been there forever. Family businesses, partnerships employing 30, 40 people, Rouse and Partners. They had something like a pathetic, in my language, 2-3 Google stars reviews at an average rating of like 2.5. Yeah?
Mm.
We have absolutely disrupted the Beaconsfield market as we have everywhere we've gone. We have totally disrupted the marketplace when we opened that shop. And we got those, and before we'd even opened up, we had 15 reviews, 5-star. Yeah? So 4 or 5 times what anybody else had. Yeah? Then they can see the blue and the yellow showing up on the high street, and they can see the signs and the walk-in nature of our service. But we've now got, I can't remember the last time I looked, but I think Maria was she's showing off to me the other day. I think she's now got, is it 50 or 60 or whatever it is, 5-star reviews. We don't pay for any local advertising, yeah, to be honest. I've got plenty of things to do. There's plenty of things that we could, and I do encourage it, particularly in formation. But to be honest, we're at the top. If anybody looks, as we all do, I mean, what's the first thing we do if we're looking for a service? You Google it, right? Right. We have something else in the UK. I don't know if you've got something similar in Australia, but Trustpilot.
Yeah, we have that.
Which is similar. Yeah. So we have now that's more on a national basis through TaxAssist, and we're like 4.5 stars. But that's out of thousands of reviews, right? So this is really credible. Yeah. So how much business do you think has been driven to us? And I'll leave as a rhetorical question. I'll give you the answer. Everybody comes in and says, I went in, I'm looking for, I've obviously seen you on the high street. It's been in my mind for the last year. I really need some help in this. I need some help in that. And then I go and, Google you, and guess who's on the top of the list? Not the ad paid list, which you discount straight away, right? The top of the list. Of course we're at the top of the list. How could we not be at the top of the list with those sort of reviews? Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's just been a massive driver. I think across my network, as I would call it, we got about 350 Google reviews, average rating 4.7.
Yeah, fantastic. Now I am a little bit conscious of time, so I'm going to just put a couple of questions to you, Mike, that has come out here. Now, Alvin, he's one of our new franchisees. He's just recently joined us. Thank you for joining us, Alvin.
Hey, Alvin.
He's at the beginning of his journey with us, where he obviously is asking the question of making a balance about maintaining the quality of your work, expanding the client base when he's got limited resources when he starts up. Any hints or tips that you can give him for his journey that he's on at the moment?
Build those clients. So one by one, make sure they're getting the service, but make sure they're paying for the service. Yeah. Because if there's one thing that if there's a one, and it's completely human, this is totally human and this is totally natural. I've always had the luxury of never been in a position to needing to do this, because I never started with client number 1 and client number 2. Yeah. So I always had a relatively good cash flow coming in and straight from the beginning. Obviously, I'd put a lot of personal investment and cash into that investment. But first and foremost, make sure you really are building those relationships with the client and you've got the time to do that. Those consultation meetings, but make sure they are just consultation meetings and not pre-advice meetings, because you will definitely get some of that. I'd be surprised if Australia is any different to is what we would call the Citizens Advice Bureau, and think we're just a free tax advice service. Not a lot, but some. And you'll get that anywhere. Hey, we're dealing with the general public, so you're going to get some of that. So the number one thing a new franchisees need to remember, and frankly, not just a new franchisee, people with many years of experience, and I need to remind myself and my team on this, on occasion, do not undervalue your value and the value that you're bringing to your clients. Do not equate your value as it will take me just an hour to do this and I can make a good profit margin even if I just charge this. Yeah. Do cost. We compete on value. Yeah. Now, we can quickly add to that. We know that we are competitive in our fees. Yeah. But if I summarize all of this, don't become a busy fool. And I'm sure, Alvin, because I can see you on the screen now, you don't look like a busy fool to me. Yeah. So the bottom line being is, don't take on a lot of low value work that people are trying to screw you down, pardon my French, it's a technical UK term, on cost and price. That is not a good foundation for a relationship. We are in the relationship game. We are not in the transaction game. So I'd say that's the number one, because you can easily fill your portfolio. And trust me, I've seen it. To be honest, the businesses I bought, and as I said, I bought another one, but across the businesses, we had some seriously underpriced clients. Now I just had it's not that people didn't have the competencies, it was a mindset shift in terms of, no, I don't want clients who tell us that we're only that. We'll tell people what our value is or what our cost is. We're not going to be defined by our clients telling us. We know what our value is. Trust me, we deliver fantastic value to clients, and they refer we refer. That's our biggest source of clients, referrals, even though we've got loads of walk-ins and inbounds. So hopefully that's one good thing, and the two, stick with it. But the other thing, keep in mind, and the planning. One thing I always did, the interactive planning model. And you've all got it right. You've all, like becoming a franchisee, doing your 5-year plan, and all the costs of the deal. If I get this client and I provide this level of service, if I get 3 of those each month and I get 4 of those each month, then this is how it's going to build, and this is how it's going to compound. That is one of I've got to tell you guys, that's the number one thing. When I was playing around with that, poor David Paulson received about 100 of those from me, in the space of a week. Because I just loved, it was really bringing it to life. Revisiting that, not, you need to get on and do it, right? But revisiting that and keeping that, as you learn and you develop, refining that learning with the help of Mandy and with the help of the support team. Because don't forget, and I'm actually going to look to do this, get more global interaction and franchisees. Obviously, time zone is a challenge, which you guys know more than most, sort of just keeping in mind when it is you will need incremental levels of investment in the business, when do you need to be hiring that additional person, when do you need to put more advertising in place and spend more time on advertising and promotion, when should I open up my second, my third, my fourth, my 10th shop? Let's be ambitious, when do I do those? When do I do, my watch is talking to me, when do I do those things? This is what you call working on the business instead of working in the business. And the reason I've been able to be, relatively successful, and, I don't need to build my ego on this stuff, old enough and ugly enough to not need to do that stuff, is the reason is because I got to a point very, very early on where I could spend the balance of my time on the business was 90%, versus 10% in it. And that has been pretty much exclusively 100% for the last 5-6 years. I'm not involved day to day with clients these days. Now, I fully recognize that's probably away from where most of you are today. I fully understand that. But have the TaxAssist dream in your mind.
Yeah, great, Mike. Now, we've reached just over our hour, so I would like to do a quick summary, Mike, and also thank you so much. And it'd be great to get another session with you in a couple of months' time with another subject. You have been very helpful and given some fantastic, enlightening advice here. So on my quick summary, the first thing you actually said is shop fronts, invest in your real estate and where you actually put your shop fronts. Be different in the market. We don't have our offices upstairs behind, closed doors. We are on that high street, and as you said, this is where people see you. You get your walk-ins and you get your new clients. So it's great to hear that as one of your key pieces of advice. Outsourcing, this enables you to grow, but more importantly, enables you to then give that 5-star service to clients, and then put somebody in your team in charge of reviews, and get them as one of their KPIs. So somebody thinking about that and working with that. National marketing is imperative that TaxAssist provides and the support team provides. But as you said, local advertising and local social media and actually making yourselves as people rather than, just a business, and putting your personality behind that local business, because it's important that you are part of that local community, is imperative. So that was a really nice bit to put on there.
I just add, Mandy, that one. I just add the networking. So part of that, and I don't think I mentioned this, the local networking, local engagement. Now, and time is money, so pick the right networking groups, local chambers of commerce, local business, develop those local relationships with the banks. Look at referral partnerships. In the United Kingdom, we've just launched our financial services business because we realised why are we giving all this business away to other people? They pay us loads of commissions. They don't really, we're not really getting anything back in the form of reciprocity. So we've formed our own TaxAssist financial services business, from mortgages to pensions to investments to everything. Yeah, but that's all on the back of relationships. Yeah, get out there, whether it's BNI, whether it's chambers of commerce. Be seen, be heard.
Yeah, that's really important, and we've seen that actually with our Melbourne team, who've doubled their turnover this year. They've moved to a new shop front, and I was down there last week with them and went into 3 different coffee shops over the 3 days. Everybody knew them. They knew them by name. They knew their dogs' names. When we went for lunch, everybody knew them. Everybody's saying hello to them. So as you said, they've made themselves a real part of that community. They did cupcakes, pop in for a cupcake on their opening day, and free cupcakes for everybody, and so things like that has definitely made them very popular in their new franchise area.
Let me just give you a little vignette on that, Mandy. Is about a week, and this was never in the TaxAssist sales prospectus or the franchisee prospectus, and it had never been coined. But a week when I first bought the business, I was meeting new clients. I was literally, and it was only when I started to get the second and third shop when I decided, look, I need to have portfolio managers. I wasn't doing the production work, but I was meeting all the new clients, and I was pretty proud of my conversion rate. Yeah, but a lot of that, really does come down to sort of who you're meeting, who you're talking to, but also what crystallized in my mind was, and most of you I can see are way too young. It was before you were born, right? Time. There used to be something called a local bank manager. Westpac had them, Australia, New Zealand, ANZ had them. We had them in the UK, and Barclays, and Lloyds, and HSBC, Midland, and all that. And you would not, and if you were a small business person, you would not do anything without talking to your local bank manager. Yeah, who was at the heart, along with doctors and and the clergy and all the rest of it, at the heart of the local community. Yeah. Well, we all know what happens. I mean, can anybody remember these sort of people? As I said, you all look way too young. But that's it from me. I'm not. They did exist. These people. They've not existed for the last 30, 35 years, right? That's what we are in many respects. We've completely supplanted that. The clients for the bank would have not made a decision about financing, about expansion, about what do I do, where do I go, without talking to the local bank manager. They don't exist anymore like that. Not to our client base. They don't. Yeah. Guess what? Guess who does exist to our client base? We do. Yeah. That's what. Honestly, we have taken over big time that relationship.
Yeah. That's exactly right. We've come to, don't pop in and see. We see that with our franchisees. Pop in, see them, have a chat, and they'll give you the advice. And that, I think, as you said, we're talking about the diversity of service, and Rakesh has asked that question as well. So, here in our TaxAssist offices, we can offer things like business loans. So when you're having a chat with, whilst doing the accounts, whilst talking about their business, you say, well, actually, you should probably think about buying your new ute this year. Let me have a quick look online. Let me tell you which lenders will lend you money and what's the rate that they're prepared to do that. We can actually do that in our store. So, as you say, giving that full service and having that relationship is really, really important.
Hey, Matthew, we'll be doing that as TaxAssist Financial Services Australia at some point in time.
We do it already. We've already got it as part of our offering. Our rules are different to yours in the UK, so we're allowed to.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So
Yeah.
that's good. And then I'd just like to finish on your last point here that you've said, which is one of the big things that is a challenge for the training team here when we bring a new franchisee on board, where it's really about your value and not about the price. Where, you know, they're saying, do I have to be the cheapest in the market? And I'm going to do this tax return for X amount. And we constantly say is just think about the value you're offering, what you've actually, the time you've spent in the consultation, the relationship you're building, the services you can offer, and think about the value rather than it's a cost, which I think is, you know, coming from you, somebody who's been in the business for over 10 years, is great to hear that somebody has that perspective.
And I'm sure you can always follow that up with, we've just launched a new fee matrix in the UK. So I literally just went through it last night for my businesses, because obviously we can tailor it to whatever we think we would like. But we are competitive. That doesn't mean to say it is a mindset. This is a mindset for you and your teams. Yeah, it's a mindset. Do not undervalue yourself. Your teams can't undervalue. They've got to feel proud about what they're delivering and the value they're delivering. Yeah, and so, you know, that doesn't mean we're expensive. We know, but we definitely don't want to be cheap. We definitely don't want to be cheap, and we don't want to have a reputation of being cheap. We want a reputation of delivering value, a good value for money. Yeah. So we'll follow it on, and my team are pretty much trained to look. This is our value. When we say, oh, I can get it cheaper down the road. Well, of course you can get it cheaper down the road, but what you're comparing apples and oranges, you know? It's not what we do. And of course, and by the way, when people do, 50% of them come back to us because they find out that that's exactly the case. They don't have a relationship. They can't just pop in and say hello. They can't have a named person. They can't do this. They can't do that. Well, it's not the same service. Of course we'll get it cheaper. In fact, if you want it really cheap, you don't need to spend anything at all. You can go online and do it yourself. You know, you don't want to spend any money on it. But if you do want value and you want advice, talk to us. But that doesn't mean we're expensive and we're not, you know. It's value for money. It's adequate. Emphasize that first, and then you can easily follow that up with, but wait, we're the largest now in the UK. We could say that. We are by far the largest in the UK who look after people like you. Yeah, and we know. We regularly look at the market. We regularly mystery shop the market. We know that we are competitive, yeah, for the value that we deliver. That is very different to agreeing that, oh yeah, well, I'll knock 20% off because, you know, you look like a nice person. Be transparent with the client, but stick to the value pricing principles.
Yeah, that's a great note to finish on. So sorry everybody for running slightly over time. I want to thank Mike for your time and for joining us early from the UK. I think it was really, really valuable. Also, thank you everyone for taking the time for giving up some of your evening tonight to join us. And I hope this was all beneficial to you all. We'll be doing a follow-up session, and the potential franchisees, people looking at us, I'll give you a call in the next couple of days. It'd be great to get your thoughts. And have a good evening, everybody. It's been really nice spending this evening with you, and thank you again, Mike. Very, very good to see you and hear your advice and your experiences.
Terrific. It's been an absolute delight, a pleasure. As you can see, I love talking about my TaxAssist businesses. So good luck, everybody, in your decision-making process. Good luck to all the franchisees and building your business. Anybody wants to talk to me directly, please just give me a call.
Great. Thanks very much. Bye, everybody. Have a good evening. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.